38. Thank you all for your patience. Meeting call to order. Um, uh, if uh, if there, do you think there's a need to do any introductions today, Carrie?
We do have, I think this is Danny's first meeting.
Second, I
Is
think.
it the second? Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So I think, yeah, I think we all know each other, maybe. I don't know. What do you
How
think?
about let's do a quick round of just um, name, anything else, pronouns you might want to share, and then just as a check-in, I like to do thumbs check-in. So you can either show your thumb or verbalize your thumb, but are your thumbs up, thumbs down, or somewhere in the middle today. And we'll just do a quick round robin as a check-in. But Daniel Altamirano Hernandez, I'm over here in Central Oregon, they, he, it pronouns, and I'm at a one thumbs up today. And I'll pass it over to Danny, who's on my screen.
Hi, Danny Cage, he, him. I'm like almost, almost a good thumb.
A
And
tentative one.
I will pass it to Sierra.
Morning all, Sierra Barnes, she and they pronouns, here in Portland, Oregon, and I'm maybe about a year. Um,
I didn't hear a name, but next
oh,
on my
Jared, I muted myself right when I said
Jared.
it. Sorry.
Hey everybody, Jared Brew, she, him pronouns. I'm here in Lane County in Eugene, and yeah, I'm about a one too. And I'll pass it over to Shanika if she's here.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yep.
Woohoo! Hi, Shanika here. Sorry, I'm driving between offices. I am here in Central Oregon, and my pronouns are she and they. And I would say about probably a good thumbs up. And I'm
Thank
going
you.
to pass it to Dr. Latrice.
Latrissa and I work over here in Southeast Portland at Warner Pacific. She, her, hers is me. And I'd say sideways, unfortunately. We've got some challenges going on over here with grants. So
Mm.
Thanks for sharing. Greg, do you want to go?
thank you.
Sure, thanks. Hi, everybody. Greg Carpinello, he, him pronouns, Executive Director at Jesuit Volunteer Corps Northwest, and I'm in the Milwaukee, Oregon area. And I too, I'm gonna give it a little bit better than a halfway, crawling to the finish line. Solo parenting, juggling a lot at work.
Mm.
Happy to have you.
Myronda?
Hi there, I'm Miranda Scheiding, and I'm coming to you from Northeast Portland. And yeah, I'm with you, Greg, and whoever else was like a half thumb. Yeah, it's been a week, and I am ready to disconnect and not think about work at night or during the day or while I should be sleeping.
In your
I work
dreams.
with Carrie. Yeah, I work with Carrie at the Office of Workforce Investments. I'm a program manager. So nice to see you all today. Thanks for being here. I'll pass it over to Mary. Did you go yet, Mary? Hi, Mary.
Hello again. Hello again. Mary Grussel. I'm a senior portfolio manager with AmeriCorps, the federal agency. So I am a federal employee. And as such, I am the agency is required to have an ex officio on each AmeriCorps state commission board. And so I fill that role on this board, and I have previously, and I'm thankful to be joining you all in that role again kind of from today going forward until I get further notice of any changes. I'll happy to take questions as the meeting goes on, but I'm gonna have a thumbs up for today. I'm thankful for the long weekend. We also have no school today and Monday and Tuesday, so managing that with work too, and also just really thankful to join you all here on this meeting again.
Thank you, Mary. Who do we have as a support today? I never know because it always says OregonServes.
You all skip me every single time you
I'm
do
saving
your
you for
job.
last.
Like every time.
Save the best for last, Carrie.
Can I go introduce
Uh,
myself?
Let's go with who do we have as support today? Who's your support person?
Oh,
It's not
Ashley.
Ashley's here today.
Ashley today. Hi,
Ashley.
Hi, everybody. I'm Ashley Olson. I'm support for Office of Workforce Investments at the HEC. I work with Carrie and Miranda, and I am an AmeriCorps alumni. She, her pronouns. I'm down here in Eugene, Oregon, and I'm right around there. It's fluctuating a little bit. So, nice to see you all, and happy 3-day weekend.
Happy 3
Carrie, I pass it on to you.
Carrie Bauer, she, her, director, OregonServes. I am coming from Alphabet District in Northwest Portland. I'm a thumbs up today. I mean, it's Friday. I'm here with you all, which always gets me super jazzed. And it's a 3-day weekend, so I'm focusing on that because otherwise there's a lot of heavy stuff going on, right? And just kind of putting all that aside today for a little bit.
Thank you, Carrie. And thank you all for entertaining me. I feel like even though it's a Friday and we have a packed agenda, taking a second just to pause and check in and ground ourselves is a good start to the meeting. But let's jump right into business. First um, business item is to approve our minutes. I believe they were sent out in the package
I don't think
documents.
that we had them actually sent out for this one because they were the two work groups, and that's going to be summarized in the report.
Okay, so do we need
So you
to?
can skip that. That's just a standard line item, but you can
We
skip
are
that for
going
this
to
meeting.
skip that for today. Do we have any public comment today, Ashley?
I did not see any public comment in the inbox. No, Carrie.
No.
Sounds good. Um, the agenda I have in front of me, the only thing that I'll make note for maybe our minutes is our agenda is off on time blocks. But
It,
the business should still be standing. Um, but hopefully y'all got a chance to review that. If not, we can pop it into the chat. And if there's nothing else for announcement's sake at the moment, I'll pass it on to you, Carrie, for a director report.
sure. Did you have a couple of announcements? Um, Real quick that I will mention. First, our upcoming deadline for applications for the commission membership is April 1st. Um, I want to I want to remind people that we have interested persons for the commission. However, they're frequently, and I have some applicants on deck, but they're from parties like the Democrat Party and the Working Families Party and whatnot. And we are required to have further representation from additional parties, from Republican Party and so forth. And so the Office of Appointments is asking that and holding our appointments until we have that increased diversity on our commission. Because we've hit basically the limit where we're not going to have what they say, track is 50-50. And so we really need to recruit some Republican members to be on the commission, basically, so that we are not, more than 50%. I know that can be a little challenging in these times as things have gotten kind of divisive between two primary parties, two main parties. But I know that there's people out there that would be interested to serve or whatnot. And so I would just ask if you could maybe think about that and maybe if you have any leads. I think in particular, I'd really like to see more representation from rural communities. I think that we have opportunity to maybe bring on like also more maybe like public officials, which typically is not exactly them. They'll send a team member, but still that connection is made there. I think that especially from maybe some of our like emergency response kind of, groups and whatnot and volunteer groups. But I really think yeah, there's opportunity there. I know it looks like, oh, we could never have, be able to cross it, but there is, I do think that there's going to be some people we just haven't, met yet. So if you have some ideas, if you could think on that and let me know for some outreach. We do need to get more members on board, and we're a little bit at a standstill right now because of this compliance requirement. So I just wanted to mention that again, April 1st is the deadline for people to require or to apply. And the application is on the governor's office website. They just pick OregonServes Commission. And then I also wanted to mention that we are still looking for somebody to serve as a co-chair alongside Daniel. So if you are interested, please let me know. And we can hold an election, probably not contested, based on not having people asking to be in that role just yet. But we definitely are still seeking somebody to fill that second position. Um, so yeah, I think that's it for my announcements. If there aren't any questions, I can move into my updates.
I did actually have a question. I saw when I was appointed, it was listed as like local Democrat. I'm not registered with the Democratic Party.
Oh.
So I was a little, I had recently changed it, not to like
Mm.
after I applied, but the appointment is not uh correct with my like
Oh,
party
that's good to know.
station.
Oh, yeah, they might have looked like during and had old information or something. So I can mention that to them. Maybe that'll tip our scales. No, just kidding. I don't think it will enough, but okay, we'll follow up on that. All right. This is the fun part where I always try to share my screen and it gets wonky. But let me see what I can do here. Oh, share. Oh, sharing is not turned on. So I hit request. Okay. If somebody could verbally let me know that they are seeing my slideshow.
I am
It
not.
might still be loading. So not yet.
Hmm. Still?
Nothing yet.
Hmm. What are you seeing?
A lot of lovely faces, but no screen share at all.
Weird. Okay, let me try one more time. Maybe I just need to do it again.
Looks like it's working. Okay, we can see your slideshow.
Do you see yourselves still over in the corner or do you just see my slides?
I can see both.
Oh, okay.
And I think folks can also toggle their view settings if whatever might work for you.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead. So first, I'm going to give the federal and state activities. Some good news is that the budget was approved for AmeriCorps. Basically, what we thought it was going to be. I can dip out of this and show afterwards what that's going to be, or just post that in the chat. But we've looked at it quite a few times. No big surprises, pretty much like current service level, which is way better than uh, not being funded at all. So pretty happy to just see that, be pretty predictable, basically. We also did see release of the competitive notice of funding opportunity. That was very delayed because of what's been going on throughout the various federal activities. Normally the competitive notice of funding opportunity is going to be released in September or October. That just got released. we're not likely to submit any. You'll recall that our last competitive applications were not funded. They were recompetes, and only continuations were funded last year due to the budget cuts for competitive. In this case, ourselves and some other commissions are likely to also, again, see a lack of having competitively funded grantees in the state, because they will still be still be seen as new and recompetes, but also there's a lot of processes that have to go on in order for us to release notice of funding opportunities, or as we call it, request for applications. As that second stage, anything above a certain dollar amount, which this certainly is, has to be approved by the Department of Justice, Oregon Department of Justice. So we have a pretty lengthy process we have to go through before we can put out a request for applications. Really, really short turnaround that's going to happen by the time we get through that process. I think there'll be something like maybe 2 weeks notice. Just makes it really difficult for people to apply for that because it is a higher level of competition. But we are getting that out. We're definitely going to help people that are interested and review if we do get any applications. But the odds are a little stacked against us, I think, on this again, because again, they would be seen as recompetes. We are preparing for the formula grant application process, actively recruiting for those grantees. You'll recall that due to recent actions to the Doge events and things like that, that we had a complete turnover of our grantee portfolio. Madeline just did amazing work in recruiting and getting all new programs on board, planning grantees, formula grantees, et cetera, for both Youth Mental Health Corps and our general formula. We are continuing to recruit for those. We've had a lot of good meetings with others. Right now, we're talking quite a bit with the Oregon Health Authority and where they might be interested. Talking to some others in state agencies where they might also be interested. We do see state agencies as a good partnership to pursue because of the fact that match is a little probably easier for them to come by than maybe some of these, some nonprofits and whatnot who are really still, seeing impacts of changes in federal and state funding. So we are having some really good conversations and expect that we'll have some great additions to our application pool. And then lastly, I just wanted to mention that we might also have an opportunity to do some outreach and connection with the AmeriCorps Chief of Staff, Mark Lloyd. I did get notice that he will, and a couple of other staff members and fellows members will be in Southern Oregon later this month. They're going to be visiting Cassie Rose's program, actually. Our commission member, Cassie Rose, is the ED of the just our community volunteer network, I believe it is, that has a foster grandparent program. That there is a travel ban right now, but I do think that this would probably be something that we would be able to get some, approval for, to be able to drive down and meet up with them. I am just in contact with them to see what opportunities might exist, if maybe they might come through our area. But definitely would love to, if there is going to be any meeting, would love to see if there's any commission members that would be interested to join. Again, I don't know for sure where this is going to happen, if they are going to just strictly be in that Medford area, or if they may swing through Salem or Portland. So waiting to see what happens there. But that's a good opportunity to just put a face to people and for them to see us. I can pause to see if there's any questions. You'll have to verbalize it.
Gary, I mentioned this in the chat, but just wanted to give you a heads up as well that Spencer and I, and perhaps some other AmeriCorps folks may be joining on that visit down to Medford as well, Cassie.
Spencer is still working for AmeriCorps too. Oh, good. Okay. I'm not positive. Great. Yeah, keep me posted. I'm really would like to make the effort if it works out, to be involved with that. Okay, as far as what's going on with the state, I wanted to share, I previously mentioned that I was part of a strategic plan implementation group for HEX Strategy 3. Um, and what we did was we looked at Strategy 3, which is for post-secondary learners to become more civically engaged. We looked at that, came up with some ideas for how to support that and implement that at the HAC. And that was presented to the HAC executive team a few weeks ago. And then an overview was given to the HAC Commission members just Thursday or just Wednesday? Earlier yesterday? I'm not sure. The days are blending this week. And was happy to hear that there was a lot of interest in that. It's going to be really tight and really competitive for what the commission may vote for HEC to follow up on and implement and put energy behind insofar as like any asking for any positions or additional funding or legislative concepts. But there was definitely a lot of follow-up questions around what is happening with civic engagement and with young adults, having a pathway to be civically engaged. So I was really happy to hear that. This is something that I think obviously as a state commission for volunteerism, national service, and civic engagement, that we have a stake in. And I know that we've talked about, and we'll see later in the state service plan addendum draft, that we'd like to continue to bulk up some of our efforts in that area, and that this could be a thing for the commission to get behind. If a legislative concept does get developed, this would be a great thing for us to support. So I will keep you posted on that, but it's still moving. I believe it's going to be like the next month or two that they're going to, start making some decisions. And so, yeah, I'll keep you posted on what happens with that. I also wanted to mention that, there's a short session right now. We don't have anything big going in the short session normally, but this year we do have one thing that we're connected to, which is House Bill 4033. That is the bill that moves the Oregon Volunteers in Disaster Emergency Response Volunteer Management database over to ODEM, the Oregon Department of Emergency Management. You'll recall that our position that supported that work was an ARPA funded position. When ARPA ended and we asked for budget authority or position authority in the past session so that we could make that a full-time permanent position, we didn't get that. And so we are minimally maintaining it right now. But it was determined that it would be best probably for that to move over to ODEM, for them to be able to, essentially operationalize that across both their emergency service managers within their agency, but also then support it for registration and usage by the various like county and local emergency managers that they also, engage with, and that they would have probably a better means of supporting it. And so this bill didn't go through, it was by Rep Fam last term. It didn't go through, but it's been sponsored again for this term and for this session. And it so far, I think, is going to, it's moving. It had its first reading last week that I went down for, and no problems. It's been referred to Ways and Means. It's under the Emergency Services and Veterans Subcommittee right now. And I don't see any real issues for it to happen. It's a pretty standard bill. Had hoped there might be some opportunity maybe to see some expansion on, support for what still remains, that we still have a responsibility in statute for emergency services support. We're still part of the state plan for emergency services, but I think this bill is really just going to be focused on getting it moving and getting it moved. And then, next session, think about partnering. As I understand it, ODEM's likely to want to partner on, okay, now how do we like build out, the support around this, including support for our partners such as OregonServes, et cetera. I'll keep you posted on that, but again, it's pretty basic. Other thing I wanted to mention, the Civic Health Index report. As you're aware, we have the data for that and it's kind of been sitting as we are going through all the roller coaster of life with our operations and whatnot. But I'm meeting again with partners on this to essentially get this report developed. I think this report is a priority for me because it's going to feed into a lot of what we're going to talk about with the state service plan and just getting our data out there. Um, this also is a way for us to show others when they're talking about civic engagement where, the role that we have in that and the role that we could have in that. Otherwise, just wanted to mention, I know that we talked about that there is, there's been budget cuts happening, that there's been scenarios that we've been asked to submit to the governor's office for reduced funding. As you know, with the funding that was approved last session, that there's sort of an immediate turnaround to return some of that due to the shortfalls that the state budget is seeing. I put this on here because I feel like we've talked about this and I've shared that it's not as impactful as thought it might be. And so I did just want to confirm that for us. It's a 5% of our GF and not going to have a large impact on us for right now. Hopefully we don't see that additionally happen, but we do currently have room with our some of the conferences that we're not going to, some of the travel that we're not doing, uh, some of the other events that we've cut back on that we're able to make up with that with some of our other funds. So we're okay on that right now. And then just a segue to mention the travel ban again, I did want to share that just uh, let you know because this is something we normally attend and have a lot that happens. Really good networking. We usually come back with a lot of news. Did want to let you know that that's going to look a lot different for us this year as we are not going to be able to attend most of the main conferences that are happening. We won't be able to attend the Ask National Conference that comes up in a couple of months. And we also are not able to attend the leadership convening, which is the commission director meeting in DC, where we usually have a lot of planning with Ask. We meet with AmeriCorps leadership, and we also have Hill visits and whatnot. So we're not going to be able to do those things. Certainly keeping our eye out for how we can make sure that we are getting that information. We're still able to stay in contact, that we're not being forgotten in that, and that we're not, out of the loop. Some of these things may have virtual options that we will, participate in. And I just want to confirm for the leadership convening that my plan is to still contact all the Congress people that we would have met with and just give them our educational, update and our program updates and whatnot via a call or an email, so that we're still present. And even if we're not there, we're still communicating as if we were. So those are just my quick federal and state activity updates. And I can see if you have any questions. And I'm going to come off share for a second.
Any comments, questions? Thank you, Carrie, for that update. The comment that I had was, it is a bummer that we aren't able to travel to the leadership convening. I was able to participate last year, and outside of the fun, there's just a lot of good conversation that happens on ground, and a lot of inspiration that comes from other commissions and what they're up to. And it's really nice to just connect in person with some folks across different state commissions or at the federal level. But I agree with you that there are ways for us to continue to be engaged to make sure that Oregon is not forgotten. And we'll do our due diligence to also be plugging into any spaces as we can as well. With my position on the Ask board, I will make sure to also share any information that's really important for us so it doesn't slip through the cracks as well. But any additional comments, questions, concerns for Carrie for the federal or state updates provided today?
Oh, I will mention real quick too before I move on. And Congressman Dexter's office is also reached out again for visits, and so I'm following up on that with some of our new grantees and so forth. So we'll keep that going, keep visible.
Awesome. And then what site will you most likely be visiting, or like in what area?
So
Wondering if we
I
can extend that invitation to any commission member that lives in that area as well.
For sure. What I have let them know, they were asking about educational programs. I did let them know and remind, like, we had a complete turnover, and so I don't have an education program in her area. But we do have Sabin CDC and Confluence, who are both like community outreach. Sabin is community housing and so forth, but also both are very involved in like environmental sustainability work too. And specifically working with like BIPOC communities. So they're very interested. And so, yeah, we'll see about getting that scheduled.
Awesome. Keep us updated.
I will. And I know time-wise, we're way off. So do you
Yeah.
want me to jump into
Just jump
the,
right into it.
okay. Let me get back to sharing. And I'll just mention this is a draft. I'm not asking for anybody to vote on the state plan draft, the state plan addendum today. I'm just giving you kind of like the synthesizing and just seeing if you like think I'm on the right track here. And I'll have a new draft and new things and all of that that we would vote on at the next meeting was my intention. So
Okay.
this is really informational and discussion and so forth. Okay, let me share again. Okay. Okay. So as you all know, it's a little challenging to vision 3 years ahead for a state service plan. In current times, we have decided to, and as we understand it to be allowed, to do an addendum update to our current state service plan. We have had several sessions, facilitated sessions, to discuss what we would like to do. And what I am going to present now is essentially just synthesizing what I feel like I heard. And get some feedback on that. So I'll just jump right in with goal one. Goal one, increase awareness of OregonServes among state leaders, policymakers, and private funders. As a statewide entity that coordinates, supports, and aligns service, volunteer, and civic engagement efforts, with an outcome that public officials, legislators, and private funders recognize us as the go-to partner to involve early in exploring service-based solutions and developing funding and legislative options. This in particular was addressing, well, I'll back up. We really want to focus on very like achievable things that are also, an overlay of things we're doing, we've laid the foundation for, and that we can have a very clear idea of done, and very clear idea of deliverables. And one of the things that came up is that we do see that we are often kind of hearing about something and then having to go, wait a minute, like include us, you should be including us. And so really you talked about like getting ahead of that and really just you know, start being in front of that and being more proactive. And so I've set this as a goal one, with some strategies that we would strengthen positioning with decision makers and support solution-oriented conversations, to clearly communicate that role, build consistent touch points with state agencies, legislative offices, and funders, and really just invest way more heavily in relationship development. Also have ready and available, those roadmaps, those ideas, that evidence-based data to say, this is why, we should be included and whatnot. And I know I'm going to go through this really fast. I apologize. Um, Goal two, increase alignment of service to career pathways, connecting service to education, training, and workforce opportunities, with the outcome being that education, workforce, and state partners increasingly recognize service as a viable pathway into priority sectors, and that members experience clearer connections from service to education, training, and workforce opportunities. This is also building on work that we're doing through our National Governors Association work, through our grant making, our grant that we received through Youth Mental Health Corps. It's also aligned with governor's priorities. It's also aligned with what we're seeing with our built-in partners in Office of Workforce Investment. It's also where we see a pretty stable interest and amount of funding happening federally and locally. That we also know that we do these things, but we're not always thought of that way, and that that continues to be like a reputational challenge for us not to be seen as a service year, or I mean like a gap year, but as a pathway to workforce. And so we're doing a lot of great work there, and this is just like continuing on to that, but really strengthening, our work with and our partnership with the entities that are involved in that work. With a strategy as position service as service career pathway, just elevating service as a pathway, advancing our partnership and alignment with like relevant state consortia and workforce bodies, reinforce how we do support credit for learning and a credential and attainment and transferable skill development. Wow, those are words that I struggle to say out loud. Transferable skill development, aligned with state workforce goals that, make that picture clearer that we're also part of that conversation and part of that pathway. And then increasing enrollment in some national initiatives, schools of national service, and employers of national service. And then also just collaborating with partners to develop shared frameworks and data collection so that we can more impactfully tell our story. That's something we're starting, that we're talking about, that is I think a really good idea for us, because we've talked before about we collect so much data, but it's not always being talked about with the same words. And there's a lot of missed opportunity there to combine data with others that are doing similar work, and really, creating the big picture, like telling a bigger story of what we all do and how that all ties in. And then goal 3 was just strengthen service sustainability by aligning service volunteerism and civic engagement with the shared state priorities. Just essentially that we're better positioned with the state priorities. We're having stronger conversations and planning with governor's office and others within the state system, so that we're really taking advantage of these opportunities for partnership. This again, a little bit of what we're doing now with some of our Oregon Health Authority conversations. Every time I've talked to them and pitched this as, let's figure out where we can partner, because we might have a shared, legislative concept next time, or funding ask next time. So just really, again, this one's kind of a little bit more focused on, publishing our data, publishing our insights related to these activities, more conversation within these existing state and local systems, and then expanding and promoting resources that help partners in the community understand opportunities to participate. So that's getting a little more into visibility, really shoring up, our resource development, and just I think the materials that we're putting out there. This is the one that I feel the least clear to me. It feels a little duplicative, that I'm probably wanting to talk about a little bit more. But that is overall kind of what I kind of heard from people about where we wanted to go, that our primary areas of action that we wanted to do were really like focusing on data and our stories. That we wanted to do more targeted outreach to funders, to agencies, to public officials, partner more and be a little more aggressive with our funding and our policy and our legislative and partnership asks, and then very intentionally target our increased enrollment in schools of national service and employers of national service. And then finally, just food for thought. This doesn't have to be decided on today, but I did want to mention that I think a good mechanism for collaboration and for really seeing these things happen would be thinking less of maybe plugging this in under, say, like public policy committee or this committee or that committee, but having really specific commission member action plans, and doing targeted work groups that would take on these strategies and then end. I think that could be a really good use of time. It would be more targeted use of time for members on the commission who have very specific interests, partnerships, areas of expertise. And so if there's interest for that, I would like to map that out and have a plan for that next meeting. And that's it. I'm gonna stop sharing.
Thank you, Carrie and team, for your dedication and work on um, this material. Is there any comments or questions from the commission on or notes as Carrie polishes a final draft for us to vote on next meeting?
Question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So first, I love what you've done here, Carrie. I think this is a great summary of all of that. And I like that idea of your last slide that showed doing some focused areas of interest. I think that's really smart. So interested in how that's going to come together and would love to participate more in that. I was
Well,
just
yes,
wondering,
and you're going to be in the group for the credentialing and schools and national service and stuff because I know you have so much to offer in that area. So I appreciate that. I'm glad that that resonates.
absolutely, absolutely. I was just wondering on goal number one, which has to do with like, getting the word out and things. Do you have an idea of how you're going to maybe measure that or what the targets are? Like how often you're planning to, explore some of these different things or try to meet on with some of these policymakers? I mean, are there some specifics there that I don't know if you put that in pieces of the plan, if you have a target and then measurements?
I've started working on that. So for goal one, I do, you all can't see it because it's not done. I don't want to put it on screen, but I do have a draft of actual items for each of these goals and strategies that digs down a little bit further. So for like goal one, like my targeted outreach list, that we create updated, briefing materials as a deliverable, establish an outreach calendar, and frequency and whatnot. But that's as far as I've kind of gotten. So, with some of that, we do have a lot of um, great mapping documents to use, actually, like toolkits to use from Ask and from like the state policy pros, work group that I was on and so forth that I would probably use for that. I think that there's an opportunity here to really like look at and map, what are the interest areas of various like public officials, what are the interest, and then have targeted materials for those. And I just want to get out of the office and start getting into meetings. This is a little bit of a sidebar, but I have had discussions with my supervisor around actually getting some more operational stuff off my plate so I can fully really just like really get into some more of this work. And be able to uh, prioritize that. So I see some mapping happening for that. Also doing the same thing with funders and mapping like what our both our needs are and what we're already doing and want more support for. But that's as far as I've really gotten on that.
That
Kind
makes
of
a lot of sense. Yeah.
breaking that down.
Yeah, because there's setting some priorities and figuring out where are you going to get the most leverage, right? Because,
Right.
it's hard to figure that out sometimes. So I think that makes a lot of sense. And I would just encourage you to focus on just some areas, right? Because you can't
Just to
can't
focus
do
on what? I'm sorry, I didn't hear the one word.
focus on some areas and not try to
Oh,
do
yeah, yeah, yeah.
everything in the first
Mhm.
year, right? So what are the big four priorities, right, for the different quarters that you want to try to hit? Or who are some of those people or who are some of those funders so that,
Mhm.
it's manageable. Yeah,
Yeah, I appreciate that.
that, great work.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. That input, Dr. Latrissa. Any other comments, questions, clarifications needed from Carrie?
I honestly will give a clarification myself to everybody, that where we have previously identified the priorities, and I'm realizing it's not specifically necessarily called out in these slides, but it would be in like the further document, is that we have acknowledged that our priorities still remain, mental behavioral health, climate action slash, environmental sustainability, and yeah, I mean funding stability and whatnot. But as far as our our focuses on our focus areas or whatnot, those are, and remain to be the top ones
Gotcha. Yeah,
in
thank you for that
alignment with the
clear.
governor's
Yeah,
priorities too.
thank you for that clarification. Others?
Could I
Seeing
ask, does three, anybody have any ideas for three? Does that seem duplicative? I feel like I'm not calling out something in that. I'm not sure. But maybe that's okay. I mean, it's specific to just, I think what I wanted to do with it a little bit more was kind of elevate the volunteerism and civic engagement part of our work. Um, I'm not sure if I hit the right note with it though.
It might be you have the more detailed
Mhm.
plan to share that might help just to
Yeah.
give you some more input on that one because I'm not sure either on that one. That
So I feel like
was
I'm about 85% there on that, but I feel like it's not hitting hard. Yeah, there's something I'm missing in the way I'm describing it. So I'm gonna just sleep on a little bit more. My goal for next meeting was essentially to have like it more built out for looking at an approval, and then I also am looking to submit for next meeting a review of the bylaws with a few things that just generally need to be updated as far as housekeeping issues, but also some things that will have to do with like some of that ex officio, like cross-sector representation that we've talked about and so forth. And a lot of that will also map to like some of the relationship building we're talking about here, I hope. So those are just my plans for next meeting.
Okay. I would say that out of all three goals, goal three does need a little bit more fine tuning. I get the gist of
Yeah.
it, because goal one is very specific to the way I read it. I don't want to say internal, but it's collaboration with other agencies and how we can push like the work forward. And I think goal three is focusing more on like as a public value, like in our state, you don't have to it doesn't have to be like an official program and you don't have to serve like volunteerism and civic engagement opportunities come throughout service. Like service members often recruit volunteers. And because we represent all of the above, it's more of like a public value. So I do see the differences, specifically like the bolded key strategies. I think it's the bullet points on goal three that just might need some more fine tuning, but I do see the idea of where you're going.
Thank you.
Yeah, I got the gist of it. And I'm looking forward to um, I think I agree with Sierra and Shanika both shared in the chat that this is a great draft. It's a lot of good information. I am confident that by our next meeting, we will pass and vote on a final draft. And knowing that we um, it is an addendum, and so it may not be all of the ideas that we want to encompass, but it's something that is going to be able to move us forward. So I would really encourage us to, by next meeting, adopting the final draft, which I think it's almost there. So I'm really excited to accomplish that so we can move forward and have an official state plan addendum. And I'm confident we can do that really, really soon. But if you don't have any other comments or questions at the moment, it sounds like Carrie's going to be working on this in the interim between our next meeting. So if those come at a later time, feel free to reach out to Carrie. Anything else on this section, Carrie, before we just move forward?
No, I think we're done.
Awesome. Well, we are in the commission business section, but before we move forward with that, wanted to open up the space for Mary. Do you have any updates you want to provide us with that might be relevant to our work here in the state commission?
At this time, I don't, but let me know if it would be helpful, perhaps in the next meeting, to provide an overview of our agency and some of the changes structurally that we've gone through. Um, it's as you've probably heard in the last year, and I don't know kind of how much the commission is involved with this. We've gone through a number of structural changes and staff changes, and perhaps that might be helpful for a future agenda.
Yeah, we can put you down to the next agenda with like a detailed overview, but it's just great to know in general that stuff is happening and parts are moving. So we can get a little bit more detailed at our next meeting, but thank you for the update that things are transitioning. So that's good for us to know that at the federal level,
Yeah, the
we might be.
passage of the federal budget for this fiscal year is really exciting news for us, and we were excited to get those notice of funding out. For, as Carrie mentioned, the timeline for both the competitive and the formula is quite short, but
Mhm.
that for us is the main priority and focus for our work for the rest of this fiscal year is getting grants out the door.
I mean, I appreciate that y'all got those out because that was a very challenging like experience and timeline and everything. Yeah, I think everybody's doing their best.
All right. In terms of commission business, I think the only thing I'm gonna look to you, Carrie, but is there anything other than I know that Kelly has reached out to commission members for updated bios and photos and that type of thing. So if you have not done that, please go ahead and do that and look in your email. It came from Kelly. I don't remember when, but let's go ahead and make sure we get that information back. Kelly has also shared, just wanted to flag a couple trainings. I know that whenever it's relevant to commission business, it's shared out to the commission. And so um, if you are available, I highly encourage you all to participate in any of those trainings. It's only going to make us better as commission members if we understand those technical aspects of it. Um, Meeting cadence, is there anything you need from us on that portion, Carrie? That's what I was going to ask you.
Oh,
Do
no,
we
I think
have,
we're good.
we're good?
Yeah.
Okay. If you don't see those on your calendar, feel free to reach out to the team and we'll make sure everyone has those. And then um, I think that's it in terms of business because we're just going to look forward towards our next meeting. Remind me of the date, Carrie, or does someone have it at the top of
I
their?
have it pulled up, sorry.
April 10th,
The
maybe?
the yeah, April 10th.
Yeah. So April 10th is when we'll vote on the finished draft of our state service plan addendum. Um, and in the meantime, yeah, it's just those things of trainings that might be coming up and are recommended for us. If you did not do your annual ethics training, also make sure you do those. And sending some bios and pics over to Kelly. But I think that's it that I can think of. The only other thing of I'll reiterate what Carrie mentioned at the beginning, but we are still looking for a co-chair. This would be a great opportunity for someone to learn along the way. Because then you're using the buddy system, and then there will come a time when I graduate and will leave. So it's great to do that as a pair before you then have to also find another co-chair. But we are also in the recruitment phase. If anyone comes to mind or you have any questions, touch base with Carrie. But I think those are our action items is check your email for any action items. We'll see each other at the next meeting. And then in the interim, recruit some people, think about being co-chair, um, so on and so forth. But I will open the floor for any other comments from commission members or questions for Carrie, Mary, or Ashley at the moment. Hearing none. We are actually ahead of schedule, Carrie, since we are scheduled to be here till 1, but um, we were pretty efficient with our use of time today, I would say. So, Carrie, I'll give you a last word if you need anything from us while you
That's
still.
my bad. I keep on thinking we end at 12:30. I don't know why that is.
But do you need anything from us while we're still here?
And we were off on the other thing, so I rushed that state service plan thing. Sorry about that. No, I think we're good. And thanks for correcting us. We'll get the agenda time and everything fixed.
No worries. Well, thank you everyone for your time today. We'll be connecting and chatting um, in the interim of our next meeting. But if you have any questions, reach out. Have a great weekend. It's Valentine's Day weekend, President's Day weekend, all the things. So I'll give you all back some time, but call this meeting to a close at 12:32.